Games CEO has blasted the Victorian government for its decision to pull out of hosting the 2026 Commonwealth Games.
Wow.
The announcement made by the Victorian government today is beyond disappointing for us. The Victorian government, however, has jeopardised Melbourne and Victoria's standing as a sporting capital of the world.
Premier Daniel Andrews blamed the cancellation on the hefty price tag, which he says was expected to cost as much as $7 billion.
I will not take money out of hospitals and schools in order to fund an event that is 3 times the cost as estimated and budgeted for last year.
Games Australia, however, disputes the blowout costs as a gross exaggeration and says it doesn't reflect the operational costs presented to the board as recently as June. The $2 billion already invested will be redirected to housing, tourism and sport for parts of regional Victoria.
We've got to discuss all of that. But for now, let's find out what the athletes think. Boxer Harry Garside won gold at the 2018 Games. He's in Thailand training for what would have been the next one. Harry, how disappointing is this announcement for you?
It's very heartbreaking for myself, and I'm with the Australian boxing team here. And when we arrived, when we heard the news story this morning, we actually thought it was a joke. So to actually hear that it was legitimate news, it was very heartbreaking.
Yeah, so you're with the boxers now. I'm sure it came as a huge shock. Is it popping off? What's going on in the athletes' WhatsApp chat? What are people saying?
To be honest, it's just a little bit confused at the moment. It's very uncertain if it's going to happen. Obviously, we went through something similar when the Tokyo Olympics occurred, so we're used to something like this, I guess. But it's also like, I think for myself, I'm a Melbourne boy, and to have the Commonwealth Games in my home state would have been amazing. But obviously, just trying my best to stay positive now with the athletes to hope that we can have the Commonwealth Games somewhere in Australia.
Harry, we see the Olympics as the pinnacle of sports, but how important are the Games for athletes? What's this going to do to your schedule?
Oh, it's massive. It's more so as well. I remember what it was like in 2006, the Melbourne Commonwealth Games, going to an event when I was younger and obviously watching the Olympics, the Commonwealth Games on TV, and how inspired and motivated I was when I was younger. And I guess having something in regional Victoria, those kids in regional Victoria they miss out on seeing their superstars compete, which I guess is the real heartbreak of this. But for myself, obviously, we just readjust, readapt, and set our sights to other goals.
Harry, you're a Melbourne boy, and Victoria prides itself as being the sporting capital of Australia in many ways. Does this make you worry for Victoria's sporting reputation?
It definitely doesn't look good to our sporting reputation. We are still, I think, the motherland of sport in Australia, but as well, it doesn't look good. And I must admit, though, like, looking at the positive of this, if this can relieve some stress to Victorians, and I guess that is a great outcome. Obviously, it was going to cost a lot, which I understood, but it's obviously very heartbreaking. Melbourne is such a sporting destination in Australia, and I think it would have been amazing for places like Gippsland, Bendigo, Ballarat. It's a beautiful part of the world, and I think for Commonwealth countries to see regional Victoria would have been amazing.
Harry, clearly a very disappointing day for you. Thanks so much for speaking to us. Appreciate it.
Thanks, everyone, guys.